Hey everyone, my name is Asia. I'm with College Vine, and before we get started talking about your college essays today, I just want to take a moment to remind you about our free essay services. So, first, if you want to get a free review of your essay, you can head on over here and submit your essay. You'll get detailed inline edits, and you'll get your essay back in a return time of about 3 to 8 hours, maybe even less. And you can also improve your own writing skills by reviewing another student's essay right here. So a student will submit their essay, you'll provide feedback and send it back to them. And if you're looking for some more help on your essays, some guidance, you can head on over to our essay prompts and guides. So in our essay prompts and guides, you'll find a list of all the schools that you're applying to and how to write the essays. Head on over to collegevine.com to sign up and get started with all our free essay services today.
So let's break down prompt one. So finally read the prompts. Hopefully my audio doesn't cut out. I just keep checking back and forth in the chat, but cool. All right, prompt one. Tell a story from your life, describing an experience that either demonstrates your character or helped to shape it. Immediately, the first thing you're going to notice about this prompt is how it encourages you to do something that you should be doing in all of your essays. By asking you to tell a story that demonstrates your character, this prompt is in effect asking you to show rather than tell. So like one of our main kind of guidelines that we talked about before, it's really talking about bringing a reader into your own shoes, incorporating emotions, talking in detail about an event rather than kind of just explicitly stating things. So an example of telling is, the cat ran out the door and I got scared. Ideally, what you should be doing is an example of showing. So the doorbell rang, accompanied by the creak of the mailbox as the mailman slipped the day's envelope inside. I ran downstairs and threw the door open, knowing today was the day I was going to hear back. My excitement made me oblivious, though, and it wasn't until I saw a blur of dark fur dash through the open door that I realized my mistake. So clearly, the second example takes the facts and turns it into a story. It gives the reader a sense of anticipation, as well as a character to identify with and root for. That's what show, don't tell does for your essay, right? So when writing personal essays, it's easy to slip into a mode in which you simply list and describe your own qualities. So when writing your first draft, you might find yourself saying something like, I always work well with others, or family is really important to me. But most people are inclined to be a little bit skeptical when someone simply claims they work well with others or have good values. Here's your chance to tell a story instead. Don't just explicitly state your characteristics, exemplify them in what you do. Provide examples, provide context for why you work well with others or why family is really important to you. Sure, you can say these statements in your essays at some point, but don't start off with it. Tell a story about you working well with others rather than just saying it, or tell a story about why family is important to you rather than just saying it. Right? At the end of the day, the admissions committee is not going to subject your story to cross-examination. More than just telling a story, you're also trying to demonstrate with your writing that you're a thoughtful and observant person who sees the world in a distinctive way. Okay, prompt 2. Describe a time when you made a meaningful contribution to others in which the greater good was your focus. Discuss the challenges and rewards of making your contribution. This prompt offers you a way to address a common suspicion among admissions officers, the ever-growing activities list that students use to pad resumes in an incredibly, competitive college admissions game. So, for example, if you can write a compelling essay about your sincere passion for the volunteer and service work you've done, this essay can go a long way in convincing admissions officers to take your activity list seriously. Like we talked about before, another guideline that we talked about, don't just kind of throw a whole bunch of activities that you've done. Just talk about what you've done in your essays. Talk more about who you are and why you've done those things, right? And oftentimes don't include a whole list of things in your essays. Try to maybe focus on one. So in this case, this student's going to focus on volunteering service work. Finally, maybe you have not done a significant amount of traditional service work. That doesn't mean you can't offer a good answer to this question. Contributions to the greater good come in all shapes and sizes, right? So maybe you've spent a lot of time providing care for a sick relative, or you quit the high school soccer team because you need to babysit your little brother when your mom had to take an evening shift. Although the question, again, says greater good, it doesn't mean that it has to be some really huge thing that impacted society as a whole. It can be small things that impacted the lives or touched the lives of other people. And again, that's really important, right? Another thing to keep in mind across this prompt is it says something about greater good, doing work for other people. You definitely want to speak with humility and maturity about the extent of your contributions and the challenges you encounter. So really remember, there is a huge difference between saying, I organized a food drive where we brought canned food to the needy, and actually going out in your community to work with existing organizations to identify real needs. So to kind of go further into that, whether you're working in your own community or traveling abroad, don't be a voluntourist. So that's someone who has airdropped in, snapped a few Instagram moments, and then left after passing out some bread and giving a few high fives, right? You want to make sure that you have a sincere and long-standing commitment to service. Write about the people you work with, what you've learned about logistics and organizing, and how your education might help you to continue doing that work. If you work with your local food bank, you might write about how you started helping unload bread deliveries from a bakery, or about how you learned to repair one of the freezers when it broke down. Okay. So when talking with humility and maturity, it's more so proving that you've actually done these volunteer experiences by having very specific narratives that can really back up your statements, right? And that's really important, especially if you're going to write about a prompt that asks how you contributed to the greater good and what are some of the challenges and rewards, right? You're trying to be very specific here, not kind of airy in what you're saying. Yeah, so don't just say, oh, I volunteered at a food bank. Rather show what your volunteering experience was, what you got out of it.